penultimate session of our session course. Um, Welcome everybody, all the participants, and on behalf of Janaki Devi Memorial College, I welcome Ms. Jayashree Sundaresan, who's an engineer and business administrator by training. She's a prolific singer and a sports enthusiast, and extremely passionate about empowering women. She has more than 2 decades of experience in the technology industry and has been excelling in the leadership roles with PayPal for over a decade now. Ms. Sundaresan has been leading wellness initiatives at PayPal and enjoys the mentoring and coaching that she performs for people under her. And this is what brings us here among us today. We look forward to being enriched by you, ma'am. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So a very, very, very warm good afternoon to everybody. There are 3 sessions that are probably not the best timings. Okay, so one is right before lunch when probably everybody's hungry, or maybe right after lunch when maybe people are sleepy, and then evening probably at the end of the day, right, when everybody's feeling like they're done for the day and ready for some chai and maybe go home. But here I am as a speaker to you all. So it's going to be a challenge, but let's hope that I'm your chai today that energizes you. Okay. First of all, a huge thanks to Principal Professor Swati, Professor Nirmala, Dr. Ruby, and Professor Prerna, and all the student team that's behind the Seed Life Skills courses. I'm super glad to be a part of it. It's actually a blessing to have teachers that genuinely care about the learning and growing of their students to ideate, something like this, to pull together so many speakers from across the country on so many different domains. So I hope all of you will take the time to absorb the learning, as well as maybe take the time to thank your teachers, for their time, efforts, energy, and interest behind this. And definitely I have to thank you all before I start my session for making the time and being here, because you've chosen very wisely to learn from another person's experience. Okay, so the reason I say that is there's so much of learning that comes from making mistakes, exposure to something different, experiencing something new. So how is it possible, for us to live the lives of, say, a Mahatma Gandhi or a Mahendra Singh Dhoni or a Neeraj Chopra or a Federer or a PV Sindhu or a Hrithik Roshan, to understand, their experiences and what made them, the leaders or the achievers in their respective fields? And how is it possible, for us to be exposed like a Virat Kohli or a Kalpana Chawla or a Mary Kom, to understand how they deal with stress, how they work on improving their skills, and how are they role models for so many millions of people? And how is it possible for us to experience, the difficulties and challenges of a Ratan Tata or a Steve Jobs or a Narayana Murthy or a Sundar Pichai? So obviously, most of the times we are not going to get the chance and the time to make the mistakes ourselves, to get that exposure ourselves, to gain that experience ourselves, right? So what is important is always, to be curious, to learn from others about trying to be a better self of ourselves. And in that journey, become a better person, a better leader. So hopefully in the next 1 hour, I'll share what I've learned in my career, in my life, from others, what I've understood about life, about myself, and what I've gained through my experiences that'll maybe, help you reflect, take something with you, and maybe put you on a path of becoming a better you. If I were to meet a younger Jayashree today, who is in college, what is it that I will tell my younger self, knowing everything that I know today? Okay, so that's going to be my talk today. Can somebody please spotlight me? Thank you. All right, do you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so if I were to meet a younger Jayashree today in college, what would I tell her? Okay, so to go from good to great, that's going to be the theme of what I'm going to share today. All right, so first up, what is this picture exactly? Can somebody, unmute and talk, or you can, type in the chat. Hopefully I can see it, or maybe let me also log in through my phone so I can keep an eye on it.
Universe.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly the right answer. So I'm going to play a quick video before I begin my talk. So let me quickly unshare this and I'm going to reshare. If everybody else can be on mute, please. Okay. All right. I'm going to reshare my PowerPoint. Just give me a second. Okay. Now, what was, what did you feel? What did you think when you saw that? A couple of people maybe can unmute and share, please. What is it? What is it that we saw on that video? Like what perspectives or what thoughts occurred to you when you saw that? All right, I see somebody answering in chat. All right, the universe is so big. That is very true. Anyone else? It is absolutely true, right? Think about that for 1 second. In this big, big, big scheme of things, we're so insignificant. We're literally this tiny speck of dust as far as the universe is concerned. Okay, so if you just think about it, like you're all sitting in Delhi and I'm sitting in Chennai, just zoom out, India, zoom out, the Asia, world, Earth, our solar system, and then you zoom out your Milky Way galaxy. That's just one galaxy out of a billion, right? So literally we are one person out of a billion, 7 billion people sitting on one planet out of 8 or 9 planets, depending on if you count Pluto or not, orbiting one star, sun, out of 300 billion stars that is sitting inside one galaxy out of probably 200 billion galaxies, right? These are also approximate numbers. We are enormously insignificant. We are like a tiny speck of dust, okay? Yet, we carry the biggest of egos inside our heads, lots of hatred and negative feelings in our hearts. And we think too much of ourselves, when we're literally nothing in the time lapse of the universe. So I always want us to remember this in our hearts, that we are really insignificant to take ourselves too seriously, to harbor negative emotions, feelings, and attitudes in our hearts and minds, and to think too much about ourselves. So what is important is for us to realize how grounded, we should be, how humble we should be, given we are so insignificant. So if there's nothing else you take from my session, take this for sure, that we should really be humble and grounded in our hearts. Okay, now that I've said that, does it really mean we don't matter? If we're so insignificant, why do we really matter? Right? Let me give a parallel thought to that. Okay. This is one of my favorite quotes ever. How cool is it that the same God that created the mountains and the oceans and the galaxies thought that the world needed one of you too? Okay, so how many of you have seen the Himalayas? I've had the good luck and fortune to do that a couple of years back. So I actually took a helicopter ride from Kathmandu, Nepal, and we flew in the helicopter to this place called Kala Patthar, which is at 18,000 feet, okay, above sea level. Now Delhi, for example, is 200 meters above sea level. Okay, so you can compare the size, difference. As we were flying in the helicopter, right, like mountains after mountains after mountains, right, like coming They're tall, they're so tall, your neck is aching just to, take a look at them. And then you think, oh, you've seen the tallest of mountains, another one is peeking from behind that, right? Unbelievable experience. And then you're at 18,000 at Kala Patthar, and they say, you know what, this is Mount Everest. Look at that. Mount Everest is sitting at 29,000 feet above sea level. Okay. It's never ending and it's so tall. And think about the expanse of it all. Okay. People who like the ocean, the beach, imagine you're standing in front of an ocean. Do you ever see the end of it? We don't know where it begins. We don't know where it ends. Think about, the forest that you may have visited, right? Like how tiny you feel inside, like the expanse of so many trees. Just imagine the beauty of it all, the massive presence of it all. Yet, the same creator, whether you call it nature, God, science, whatever your belief or non-belief system may be, created one of you two. One of Jayashree for this world, one of Professor Nirmala for this world, right? So how special must I be? Every one of us should ask ourselves this question. Given I'm also a special creation in this planet, how do I make a difference to those around me with this life that's been given to me, with the time that I have on this earth? We all have that opportunity to make an impact as a human being. Now, how do we do that? It is by being a leader. Now, before we get into, what is leadership and being a leader, let's watch a quick video on what some kids say, right? Like kids have the best things to say sometimes, the smartest things to say. So let's hear from them on what they think is leadership. Okay, I'm going to quickly share my screen and I'm going to share another video.
What's this? Leadership means to me setting an example for somebody.
Being able to take charge in some of the most difficult situations.
Bringing the best out of the people on your team.
Have patience with other people.
Take appropriate risks.
This is what leadership is to me.
A good leader knows what's right and what's wrong.
Not using like the same ideas that people have already used, thinking outside the box.
Not just doing the basics, you're going above and beyond. Unconventional thinking. Perseverance.
What leadership means to me is teamwork.
As a team, we can accomplish greater things than as one person.
A good leader has to be able to listen.
My dad and my mom are leaders.
I am a leader.
We're leaders.
So any thoughts on that? Does it resonate with you as to what a leader is inside of your head? All right. See, at the end of the day, leadership, it's about being the type of leader where people would look up to you even if you had no title or position. As a student in your college now, can you be a leader? Because of the way you behave, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way your actions speak for itself, the way you treat someone. There's leadership in all aspects of our lives. And how do you all become a leader, become better in whatever you do? And how do you go from good to great? It's through the choices we make. Well, here are some insights, learnings, and ideas from me. I'll share some 20 plus ideas that I hope will stick with you. I request you to take a notebook and pen and write down, as I'm talking through it, any ideas that appeal to you, right? I would request you to plan to take away at least 5 ideas that you can give it a try. Okay. All right. So I hope you're ready with your, pen and paper. All right. So this is my first idea. How many of you think that you know yourself well? How many of you spend time introspecting, trying to understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses? Not that six-pack kind of strength. Okay. So I'm talking about inner strengths. What are your thoughts, your values, your beliefs, your motivations, your attitude? How do other people perceive you? See, we can all think, oh, I'm great at this. I'm super at that. No one can do like this, all of that. But how many times do we really take the time to think about how other people perceive us, how others experience us? Do we spend time thinking about it? Do you know what other people think about you? Ask trusted people around you. your friends, your family, your teachers, your siblings, they spend a lot of time with you. For example, if you learn that you're very persistent, you're a go-getter, it means that if you'll take up something, you'll not stop until it's done. Let's say you go for a job interview a couple of years down the line in future. Okay. Use that in your interview when you talk about yourself. Explain how you overcame a difficult situation using that strength. The more you know about yourself, the more you can help others understand about yourself. And if you know, can everybody please go on mute if you're not talking? All right. So the more you know about yourself, right? It helps. If you are an optimistic person, happy, cheerful person, then that's a strength. Use that in a team setting when working on a project to motivate people. If others constantly say you're always on time, know that being punctual is one of your strengths. Get to know more about yourself. Become aware of your strengths so that you can leverage it better. And it's also important to be aware of your weaknesses, right? So that you can make sure they don't become roadblocks for your path forward. So today evening, do this exercise. Don't do it right now because it does need a lot of thought. List down your strengths and weaknesses, right? Top 5 strengths, top 5 weaknesses, and then go and check, with people that you truly trust, a teacher, a family member, a friend. Ask them what is their version of, your strengths, your weaknesses. Compare the two lists. You will be surprised. There are things that your friends or family, they say about you that you did not even list in your strength. Awesome. You are exhibiting that. You don't even realize. You would have listed something. Nobody is talking about it. It means that you are only thinking it and you're not exhibiting that behavior. So if you really want to be known for that strength, be more aware. Be more aware of how you're going to demonstrate that strength. So it's very important to first know and understand yourself. This is my first idea. Be self-aware. All right. One of the things I have found to be very, very powerful is to be quite fearless. I'm more open to taking risks than a typical person. It seems to be a natural part of my personality that I've learned over the years about myself. And the approach that I use in my head for that is to think, what's the worst that can happen? Aisa kya ho jayega? Asking yourself this question actually helps you get comfortable with the worst possible scenario. And once you think through that, it doesn't seem so scary anymore. For example, let's say you badly want a job at Google or Apple. Now, there isn't an easy way to get in, right? Because those are really awesome companies, very tough to get in. Maybe one of the things you can decide is to email Sundar Pichai directly or Tim Cook directly. Okay. Now, if you think about it, he doesn't even know you exist today in this world. So what's the worst that can happen? You send the email. He either doesn't even read your email or reads it, but ignores it. And he continues to know that you don't exist in this world. You don't actually lose anything by giving that try. On the other hand, for that 0.000001% chance that you manage to impress him in that one email, because you probably shared with him all the strengths, how you will apply it in the job and why you're passionate about joining Google or Apple or whatever, then that maybe you might get a call for an interview. That's how you open up a window of an opportunity for yourself, because everything is always worth a try. It's worth a small try when you don't have anything to lose. Imagine tying a thread to a mountain and pulling it. If it comes to you, it's a mountain. If you lose, it's just a thread. Think like that. So it's always worth trying something out. So what if you fail? Don't worry about what others will think. You learn something new even if you fail. Don't worry about others judging you as well. Let's say you're worried about friends laughing at you in class. And because of that, you don't share a thought or a question that comes to your mind. Tell yourself, 5 years down the line, none of these people will remember that I even asked that question and people laughed at me. I've tried this so many times in my life, in my career, and I've always found it to work. For example, I'm a big cricket fan. So I'll use a cricket example. Hopefully there are many cricket fans amongst you. Think about Rishabh Pant. Okay, he's our upcoming, star wicketkeeper. He was playing in the 4th test against England. And it was a new ball that was brought in with James Anderson, who's one of the all-time legendary fast bowlers. Okay. And he chooses to reverse sweep as if he's a spinner. Okay. And no one has ever done that before to a fast bowler, especially with a new ball in a test match. If Punt thought to himself, oh, if I play such an outrageous shot and miss it, everyone will laugh at me. No, he doesn't think that. Instead, he plays fearless cricket. At times he fails, and more often than not, he will succeed, get better at it, and he will become a legend because he is going down a path fearlessly that no one has dared to go before. As a leader, it's very important to take risk, which is what will give birth to innovation. So my second idea is this: be fearless. Be open to trying new things. Think what's the worst that can happen. Take risks in life. You don't have too much to lose in life. All right? Okay. See, we hire a lot of fresh graduates in our company, okay, at PayPal. It's amazing to see the energy, the enthusiasm, and the passion that, I see in them. One thing that I wish they do more is invest the time and energy to self-learn. See, you all must have some interest at this point, okay? It could be science, it could be space, math, language, arts, sports, history, whatever you've chosen. It could be anything. Know what's latest in that domain. Let's say you want to become a lawyer and you're studying for that. Know what's the latest, case that's happening. Who's leading that as the lawyer? Go and read through, case history of, some of the most interesting, challenging cases in India. It could be anything, right? Read some blogs, read some articles, follow some experts on social media on what they read, what they share. Keep yourself up to date. See, technology and information is changing so fast that what you knew yesterday is already obsolete today, probably. And the only way to stay afloat is to keep yourself current. And like in the movies, how an Amitabh Bachchan becomes a big shot within one song, that's not going to happen in our lives for sure. That's our responsibility. Nobody's going to do it for us. And today's generation, you're so lucky. Information is available at your fingertips so easily. And the world is more connected than before. If you're spending 2 hours, say, a day on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and other social media, spend a couple of hours every week learning something new also, right? It's not too much to ask. If you think about the number of hours we have in a week, right? 24 into 7, you do the math. You take away 8 to 10 hours of college time. You take away 8 to 10 hours of sleep time. You probably would have about 50 plus hours at your disposal. I'm saying 2 hours from it in a week. Lock yourself in a room. It could be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't matter. Remove all distractions. Spend that 2 hours learning something that is of interest to you, something that progresses you, grows you, furthers you. Can you do that? Demonstrate leadership through learning. Okay, so be worthy of other people to give you opportunities, for them to take chances on you. And as many successful people say, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. So my third idea is this: be a self-starter, be a self-learner, invest small pockets of time regularly, and be worthy of someone to give you the opportunity. Okay, all right. See, when I started my career, I quickly realized that there is just so much to learn from people around me. How do you influence people? How do you resolve conflicts? How do you negotiate for win-win scenarios? How do you build trust? And it's very important in professional relationships. How do you take chances on people? How do you collaborate? How do you sell an idea? How do you build a brand for yourself? Let's say there's someone named Deepa here. Okay, what's the brand Deepa goes by? What do people know about Deepa or think about Deepa when they see her? It's very important to pick role models and mentors around you so you can be on a fast track mode of learning than someone else. It can be anyone. Look around you. Who's the 1 or 2 people that you can learn from? It can be a teacher, it can be a senior, it can be a relative, it can be a friend, it can be a colleague. But constantly be on the lookout for, what is it that I can learn from this person? See, we look at our friends, admire their dressing sense, admire how they look. We want to follow them, we want to mimic them. We look at superficial habits and, think, hey, I want to be like them. Why can't we look at good things in others and learn from them? See, a leader is always learning from others. Find a mentor that you can learn from. Leverage their experience to learn from them. So my fourth idea is this: pick a role model, pick a mentor for yourself. All right. Someone asked me this question once: what is more important for success? A supportive ecosystem or intrinsic inspiration that's within us? Okay. I really thought about it hard. And I realized that it's a combination of both, obviously, right? But definitely one is more important than the other. And that is intrinsic inspiration. Look at how many stories we see of how people come from challenging backgrounds, and become successful in life against all odds, right? And Abdul Kalam from a remote town in, the southmost part of India, or a Rani Rampal who captained our Indian women's hockey team in the Olympics recently, or a Milka Singh whose first run was escaping from Pakistan to India during partition, or a Mirabai Chanu whose first try with weightlifting was carrying logs for her family, right? Think of so many people who don't have supportive parents, people who don't have enough monetary support, people who don't get to go to good colleges. How do they succeed? The reason is when you don't have a supportive ecosystem, having that intrinsic inspiration within yourself, that fire and hunger to succeed, the motivation to challenge things around you, you can still become very successful. One of the things that my mom has told me when I was 6 years old, it has stayed with me till date. Okay. This is what she said. Even if you don't do great things in life, do every small thing in a great way. I'll repeat it. Even if you don't do great things in life, do every small thing in a great way. If you don't take any other idea from me today, this is one of my favorites. Please take this up. Right? I'll tell you another story about actor Kamal Haasan. He's a big star from Tamil cinema and he's acted in a lot of 80s, 90s and even Bollywood movies as well. So he made his debut as a child actor and he was super successful. He was very charming. He was extremely cute. He was super successful. During his adolescence age, when he became a teenager, he was neither offered child artist roles because he had too big for that. He was neither old enough to, for hero roles also, right? So he was going through a troubled phase, but he wanted to be in cinema, but he's obviously not getting opportunities. So he dabbled in a lot of things, okay? He was learning vocal Carnatic music, Bharatanatyam, Mridangam, he was learning movie dancing, whatnot. He was directionless, basically. Apparently, his mom was so frustrated that one day she pulled him aside and she told him, what are you doing with your life? You're wasting your life, doing things like this. You're not interested in academics. You're going to become fit for only picking garbage on the streets, right? She literally is cursing him. And for that, Kamal Haasan's response was, Mom, even if I become a garbage picker on the streets, I will do it so well that the world will be saying that there is no one who can pick garbage as well as Kamal Haasan. Oh man, think of that for the second. The self-belief that he had, that attitude, that whatever I do, I will do it in the best way that I can and I will give it my best. See, every one of us have a responsibility to demonstrate our passion, to bring something unique to the table and be a leader in everything that you do. Anything that comes to you, it could be a project, it could be a presentation, it could be, an assignment, anything that comes to you, right? Take full ownership of that. Take it up wholeheartedly. Think through end to end and do it so well that nobody else could have done it better than you. Then you see who doesn't take notice of you. Then you see why no one can stop you. Then you see why success doesn't follow you. It's like that dialogue, from 3 Idiots movie, right? Success ki piche mat bhago, excellence ki piche bhago, success chak maar ke tere piche aayega. So my next idea is this. Be a leader in everything you do. Give it your best always. It's an attitude of excellence. Make your presence felt. Right? Okay. Now, how do you do that? I mean, it's so easy to say, build an attitude of excellence, right? A major part of leadership is about confidence. See, confidence is a combination of how you feel and how you look. That part also plays. So let's try it. All of you right now, close your eyes for a second. Think about situations in your life that you felt super confident. Okay, it could have been a classroom when you were younger, where you stood up and shared an idea or an answer and felt proud about yourself. It could be amongst friends, when you were on travel, that you took the lead and helped others cope with the situation. It could have been with family, where you confidently made a decision and got the support needed. It could be any such memory. Like in the movie Nayak, right? I think Anil Kapoor says this, oh, how wonderful it'll be if life had a rewind button. Okay. When you feel your confidence slipping, rewind to these confident moments inside yourself and use that to build yourself up. When you replay, right, our mind is so powerful. When you replay good memories, good thoughts, you will automatically feel that positivity. You will draw energy from that. So do that. See, MS Dhoni, he talks about this beautifully, okay, about confidence. Form is a word that's used a lot in sport. Oh, this batsman is out of form. Or that bowler is out of form. When an interviewer asked Dhoni about this, he says, who has seen form? No one has seen form. Okay, form is nothing but a state of mind, a state of being confident in your abilities in the process of preparation and being able to execute on it without fear. Remember the ideas we talked about so far. When you are self-aware of your strengths, when you are a self-starter where you're doing a lot of self-learning, and you have an attitude to give your best every day, and you have some goals and you invest the time in it fearlessly, knowing yourself enough, why wouldn't you feel confident? Now let's come to the look part. Okay, there's something called an 80-20 Pareto rule. I bet you anything. Go to your cupboard, maybe today evening, and you will wear 20% of the clothes 80% of the time. I bet that. And if you think about what you eat, 80% of the time, you're probably eating only the same 20% of things. You can apply this to almost everything in life. So how many ever clothes we have, we'll probably levitate towards that 20% of what we think looks good on us. For example, this jacket that I'm wearing today, I know I look good in it and I wear it to most of the times. I don't have a repeat audience, okay? And I feel good about it. Have you felt how when you feel, you look good in a particular outfit, you automatically, smile more? There's a spring in your step, an extra spring in your step. You automatically project confidence. You become more aware of it. Leverage it to feel confident. Okay, that's the look part of it. But to truly feel confident, you have to know your stuff. There is no shortcut to knowledge, to building skills. So always invest the time to become a subject matter expert in whatever you want to do. The confidence you get from knowing what you know, knowing about yourself, it will automatically show. Okay. All right. Now, what is positive presence? See, it's about carrying yourself so you have a positive impact on someone. It could be someone above your level. It could be someone on your team. It's all about your ability and intent to command attention, credibility, and the respect when you walk into a room. Every opportunity you get, every forum that you're a part of, can you make your presence felt? Can you make a positive impact? Do you want to be a fly on the wall, or you want people to remember you because you contributed and collaborated well? Impactful presence is about your ability to instill positivity, inspire confidence that you are capable and reliable and have the potential for great achievements. So it's very important to be intentional about listening and participating and collaborating and contributing, doing the homework ahead of time so you can make your presence felt in whichever forum that you're a part of. All right? Okay. See, goals is such a buzzword that is so overused sometimes. Sometimes that gets very boring. Oh, do you have a goal in life? What do you want to become? You know what? Sometimes we don't know. I don't know what I want to do sometimes. And I don't know what I want to become, right? See, we all wait for that one silver bullet aha moment where we discover our life's calling. Oh, this is what I'm born to do, right? See, the thing is, it doesn't happen that way for a majority of us, and that's totally cool. But what's important is for you to think and jot down some short-term goals, some long-term goals, okay? Short-term goals could be, hey, I want to learn to paint. I want to learn Spanish. I want to learn to code. I want to get better at, cooking. I want to, become a marathon runner. It could be anything. Long-term goals could be, I want to become a doctor. I want to become a journalist. I want to work for managing climate control. I want to become a nature conservationist. I want to become, a top economist in the world. It could be anything. Today evening, again, another exercise for you all. Spend 15 minutes thinking about, writing down 3 or 4 short-term goals, 1 or 2 long-term goals. What's important is you have to revisit them from time to time. Since you evolve as a person and as you grow, your goals will also evolve and change. See, once you have such goals written down, it becomes easy for you to have some focus, knowing where you want to spend time. Remember, self-starter, you know where you want to spend your time now. Okay. So now let's talk about how you do that. You've identified some goals. It's important to prioritize the time needed to spend some time on them. Otherwise, what's the point of having goals? Okay. So one of the important ways to think about anything you have to do, anything that takes up your time, think about time from morning to night, every single thing that you do, ask yourself this question. Is it important? Is it urgent? See, what are important and urgent things? This quadrant, okay? Both important and urgent. You have to do these things. You don't have a choice. Your assignments, your projects, something with a deadline, someone in crisis needing help, maybe a friend who falls down during playtime, or you have to prepare for a college presentation. These are the things you have to do now. You cannot postpone them, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. Okay, so these are the do things. So ask yourself the question, is it urgent? Is it important? I better do it. Now let's talk about things that feel urgent, but not important. Okay, this quadrant. It could be trivial requests from others. Is there a friend who pulls your time to do things for them because they're being lazy? Help once or twice, but let your time not be derailed too much by this, right? Interruptions, distractions, like your cell phone chats, your messages. Reject them, delegate them, avoid these type of tasks. Okay, you have to help, but you have to be aware. Is it draining too much of your time? The next one is what we should resist and eliminate. They are neither important, not urgent. All our comfort activities, okay? Online games, net surfing, binge watching, chats, gossips, texts. Try and resist them. See, I'm not saying don't have fun. All work and no play will make anyone dull. We don't want that. But can you time box these things so that you know that they will not become a huge time drain? We'll look at how to time box some of these fun activities we enjoy a little later. You can actually put a schedule. Maybe we'll not have time for it, right? Put a schedule every day. Draw up a schedule saying, you know what, I wake up at 6:30. This is what I do. This is what I do before college starts. This is what I do during college, during my lunchtime. This is what I do in the evening. 1 hour, I'm going to relax and spend time playing, things like that, right? 8:30, 9:30, I'm going to go to bed because I need to take care of my health, right? Things like that. You can put a schedule for yourself. When you do that, you will realize that you're actually jotting down time for relaxation as well as self-care and all that. Let's talk about the most critical one now. Important but not urgent things. Okay, the top right quadrant. Typically, all your long-term plans, short-term goals, all of this are going to fall in this bucket because I don't have to become a painter right now. There's no urgency to it. I don't have to become a doctor right now. There's no urgency to it. These things will never feel urgent. But this is the most important bucket. Your self-care. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you taking care of your hygiene? Are you spending time with family and friends for you to feel happy? Are you reading books? Are you learning things that interest you? Your recreation, your fun, your playtime. It is important to plan these things. Otherwise, what will happen? These three categories will eat up your time and you will find that you're not having time to do the important but not urgent things. See, managing your time well and being very intentional about how you spend your time, it goes a long way in you becoming a leader that truly rises and shines. Okay. All right. Next idea. See, in today's interconnected world, being skilled is extremely critical, right? You need to be knowledgeable about the domain that you want to pursue. But even more important is to build a strong communication skill. How do you say it? Right? You will be traveling to, the globe, for studies, for work in a multicultural environment. To speak not just confidently, but impactfully will make a huge difference. Why does every Hollywood movie have the voice of Morgan Freeman? Or why does Amitabh Bachchan narrate in every Bollywood movie? Because these are people who are masters of how they use their voice. Can you imagine what it must be like in broadcasting? What about being a voice for cartoons, reading audiobooks? These speakers have learned to use how they control their voices in order to capture the attention of a listener. See, how many of you know that when something gets communicated, okay, but for example, today, what I'm talking, only 7% is the words that I'm actually saying matters. 93% of what I'm saying reaches you through my voice modulation, the pace with which I'm speaking, the pauses that I'm leaving in between, my body language, my hand gestures, my eye contact, my facial expressions. All of these constitute the 93% of helping you grasp what I'm actually saying as words. Let's say I'm trying to deliver the same thing, same presentation today. How you say matters as much as what you say. If I deliver it like this, you will all be sleeping. Okay, there's another thing that we have to pay attention to. There are three types of learners. Visual learners who learn by seeing things. Auditory learners who learn by listening. And then kinesthetic learners who learn through experience, feeling, touch, etc. So be aware what kind of learner you are and be aware what kind of learner could be the audience whenever you're trying to communicate, right? Make sure, see today, for example, I have a visual so that even if you're a very visual learner, you're able to grasp what you see. If you're an auditory learner, you're able to hear me. If you're a kinesthetic learner, I'm using all kinds of, stories, all kinds of, things so that it has an impact on you, right? So amongst, all of you, I'm trying to reach every one type of learner here. So in today's session, I've sort of demonstrated, how you can impactfully, communicate, right? So by paying close attention to this, you can actually become a very strong communicator. More importantly, practice. So for example, to deliver today's session, right? I literally wrote down every single word that I'm going to say. I practiced it a few times, seeing it, and then without seeing it, and then I timed myself, and I'm finally talking to you guys. That is why it appears as if I'm just naturally talking, as if I'm talking to a friend. If you're scared of speaking in front of people, practice with a friend, practice with a family member, record yourself. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Some people laugh when you fumble. Don't bother about them. In 5 years, nobody is going to remember it. Give it a try, right? Work on becoming a strong communicator. It's going to matter more and more in the new world. Okay. See, let's also talk about some critical values that go with leadership, right? What is being authentic? It's about understanding your own priorities and emotions better. It's about knowing deeply your inner values and beliefs and how your outer behavior reflects that. Is there an alignment between your inner values and the beliefs and how you behave? If it is, then people will experience you, and that is what is called authenticity. So do a reflection exercise, another exercise for you. Question yourself, what are the things I value in my life in school and college? Do I value appreciation? Do I value achievement, advancement? Do I value challenges? Do I value collaboration, honesty, compassion, creativity, fame, family, friendship, health, humor, influence, knowledge, loyalty, respect, status, wisdom? There's a ton of values. Do that exercise. What are top 10 of my values? Do my behaviors always reflect what I value the most? Push comes to a shove. Do I value, friends versus, fame, right? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Very tough to have you, face those tough questions, but it's very important because the more you do that, the more you can be an authentic self. And authentic leaders bring about, trust, confidence, influence much more easily than leaders who are not authentic. Okay. All right. The other question that I will ask is, when you're about to do something that is not right or is not aligned to your values, right? Your gut feel will always warn you. Listen to it. Ask yourself the question, will I be proud of my actions if my parents or my loved ones know about this, right? So this exercise will help you stay authentic to your values and beliefs. Okay. All right. Next value that I will talk about is trust and credibility. So there isn't an easy way for you to build this overnight. It's important you take the time to do it with people around you, right? I mean, there's a Rajnikant, dialogue where he says, I'll say it in Tamil, I'll translate it. Solradha seva, seyardha solva. It means I'll do only what I say, I'll say only what I do. That is what is, how you build trust and how you build credibility. If you mess up something, own it. Be there for people, be assertive, be yourself. Credibility comes from doing your job well and really well at that. There's no shortcut to these things. When others talk about you, the trust and credibility you have built talks on your behalf. As a leader, when you have trust, you have everything. When you don't have trust, you have nothing. So it's very important to build trust and credibility through your actions and through your behavior. I'll quickly touch upon integrity as well, because it's very important. It's all about how you carry yourself even when no one is watching. Be a great role model, to your friends, to your siblings, to your peers. Remember, we talked about learning something from everyone around us. What is important is to realize someone is always watching you and they are trying to learn something from you. So you want to carry yourself, with integrity and take pride in doing that. Okay, next idea is this. Connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in a way that increases your influence with them. People in your network will be your sounding boards, will be your support system, will be your next opportunity, will be your accountability partners, will be your buddy. But what is important is to spend that time creating that network. Take that time to reach out to people. Attend events in domains that interest you. Participate in hackathons if that is of interest to you. Collaborate with friends to learn. Remember your short-term and long-term goals and having mentors. Getting to know people from the industry will really help you with that. Introduce yourself without hesitation, demonstrate that confidence, ask what help you need. What's the worst that can happen? Every time you need to get ahead, you can dip into your network, reach out for help. Even if someone in your direct network can't help you, they will put you through to someone else. Ultimately, as you grow in your years of experience, your network should grow. And your network will be that invisible web that works for you in the background. And also important to recognize network has to work two ways, right? As your network grows, you have to help others too. It's a circle. It's going to come back to you. Okay. All right. This is one of the most favorite techniques that I use. Visualization. Okay. It's a very powerful technique. As a leader of your own life, your college life, and later in your career, your job, it's important to visualize what success looks like to you, what big dreams look like to you. Then you anchor that strongly inside you and look at yourself, achieving it. Make that your guiding force of what you want to, drive every day. I'll give you one, personal example. See, back in 2011, when I was working in the US, I was part of a technology summit, and every attendee had to give a 5-minute presentation. Okay. So I chose employee engagement as my topic. And instead of a presentation, I actually wrote a song about my favorite things at my company. And I actually sang it as a karaoke song. I'm sure all of me must be thinking, what a crazy thing to do at a professional summit instead of a presentation, singing a song. How could that work? But the way that I approached is this. It was very authentic to who I was, right? I'm someone who believes in the joy of life. So I knew that authenticity will shine through when I do it. And I asked myself, what's the worst that can happen? Maybe I could end up singing bad. Maybe this mad idea might not work. Maybe I'll be a flop. But I thought to myself, what? It's okay. Will I regret if it happened? I realized that I'll still be happy that I at least tried something very different. So I was going to give it a try. Then it dawned on me how I say something matters. And because of that, it might work. My confidence improved. Then I leveraged my network. I shared that idea. I sang it to them to see what they thought of the idea. I got positive feedback. I gained more confidence from that. Then I finally started visualizing myself confidently singing on the stage and visualized that I was appreciated and people enjoyed it. Then the D-Day came and I went on stage and I sang confidently like I visualized. And guess what? It was way beyond what I was expecting. As I was singing, I got 3 standing ovations. People connected with what I was singing so much that I could see that I was able to share the joy that I felt in my heart, to the audiences. That's the power of being authentic and visualizations. I strongly believe that the universe conspires around you to make things happen for you all the time. The universe is listening to you. So leaders who have a vision, have a beautiful way of inspiring others. Build that skill of visualizing success for your goals so that you can take action and act confidently. Okay. We're almost through to the last few of the ideas. Be patient with me, please. See, remember that success is nothing but a series of small wins in life. They count a lot. Celebrate every single one of them. Dream big, but achieve it through small wins. Your big goals, your long-term, short-term goals, right? Break it down into smaller steps. Keep achieving smaller wins. And as you do that, your confidence improves, your credibility increases, and thereby your leadership quotient increases. Literally, like, you're all, in your not even 20s or maybe 20s, right? Like 60, 70 years ahead of you. Imagine reaching that point and, taking a look back at your life. Literally imagine your life being this beautiful, colorful, serial lights, every single thing being all of those small wins that you had every day. That's how beautiful life should be. Okay. All right. One of the things I want to leave with all of you is this. Okay. So we always remember people because of how they made you feel rather than how they looked or how they spoke or how they behaved. I'm not saying be a pushover, be a people pleaser, but pay attention to how you make others feel. Are you being a bully? Are you dominating others? Are you overpowering others? Or are you giving space for everyone to feel comfortable? Are you putting down people? Think about these things. As a leader, can you be intentional about being kind, being respectful, being, a good listener, to be polite? Such leaders will be remembered and valued a lot more than others. Okay? All right. See, in the end, remember that you're your own champion. You're your own cheerleader. There's not going to be people are, you don't have to depend on people around you to be your cheerleader. See, there'll always be two voices inside your head. One voice, it's like, like an FM radio, right? One voice, it's going to be super loud. It's going to be a naysayer. It's going to keep telling you, what, you can't do this. You don't have the skills to do it. You don't have the right environment. Don't try it. People will laugh at you. People will judge you. What if this? What if that? Right? Reflect on the I, which is the identity. Reflect on the can't. Is it your beliefs? Is it your values that is stopping you? Reflect on the do. Is it your ability? Is it your skills? Reflect on the that. Is there a behavior related block? Shut down that voice. Tune it out like how you do it in a radio. There will be another voice inside you. That's a much more, feebler voice. That voice is trying to cheer you. That voice is trying to give you the confidence. You can do it. You can give it a try. It's okay to fail. Listen to that voice more. Increase the volume of that voice. You have to be your own champion. And those are the leaders that finally stand out because they believe in themselves first before others even start believing in you. Okay. All right. We're down to the last, slide. As final thoughts, this is what I'll share. Right. See, I have two daughters. They are, 15 and 13. And when we go for a, walk, one of the things that, she always asks me, my older one, Mama, what do you want me to become? Okay. So I keep telling her, you can become anything in life, but very importantly, be happy. Any of us here want to be unhappy? I'm sure there's none of them. Nobody wants to be that, right? See, I'll tell you all a trick. There are 4 hormones that are called happiness hormones. Okay. Endorphin. Endorphin secretes when you are physically active, doing some exercise, running around. Dopamine. Dopamine secretes when you accomplish something, when you finish something. When your mom asks you to tidy your room and you finish it, that sense of happiness you feel, it's because of dopamine. You submit a tough assignment on time, you feel a sense of accomplishment. That's due to dopamine. Serotonin. This secretes when you help somebody. You explain, to a friend who's struggling, who's not understanding what the teacher is saying. You help your grandparent by getting them water. You serotonin secretes whenever you help somebody. The last one is oxytocin. When you feel loved and you're loving towards your friends and family, when you play with your pet, when you hug your family, oxytocin secretes. Now let's pause for a second here. These 4 things, can we not accommodate into our schedule daily? Some physical activity for endorphins. It could be walk, it could be playing time, it could be anything. Some small to do or accomplishment to finish for dopamine. A small help, for someone around us, for serotonin, and being loving and kind to people around us, for oxytocin. If we can do all of these things very mindfully, very thoughtfully, we'll be happy. See, being a leader and how we behave and carry ourselves is great. We should also be happy doing it. All right. So I'm going to play one last video because I really was inspired when I saw this movie. It's actually a sports drama. I'll highly recommend it. It's available on one of our OTT platforms. This movie happens with the backdrop of Nelson Mandela being out of prisons after 27 years as the president of an apartheid-torn South Africa. And he's trying to inspire the underdog South African rugby team on a mission to win the World Cup. India is on a mission to win the World Cup, so hopefully they win right now. But see, we all need inspiration. Okay, so let's watch this video very quickly. I'm going to stop this share and share the video. Give me a second. Okay, I hope you're all able to see my screen. So there's going to be subtitles that will also come. So I just want you to watch the video. That truly is my favorite line from that movie. In order to build something great, we must all exceed our own expectations. All right. So with that, I'd like to thank Janki Devi College and the teachers and the student coordinators for the opportunity to interact with you all today. And hopefully you've written at least 5 ideas that you liked, that you would like to go on and give it a try. And remember to ask yourself, hey, what's the worst that can happen? I would rather fail trying than to never try at all. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I would love to hear from people on, anything that they particularly, liked, any comments, any feedback. It'll be my pleasure to hear from a few of the students, please.
Thank you, Ms. Jayashree, for a wonderful session. And before I say anything, I would just ask the participants to ask if they have any questions or any comments or feedback for the session. You can unmute yourself and interact directly with the speaker.
Thank you, Jayashree, for that brilliant session. It was very inspiring. And I have a request. I don't have a question, but I have a request for that song. My favorite things.
Oh. Okay, so I have the two versions, right? So one is the original version. The other one is the version that I wrote.
Whichever you feel comfortable with, whichever you feel comfortable.
Let me quickly Google the lyrics because I don't want to fumble, which I typically do whenever. One second.
When we were kids, we used to sing, these are a few of my favorite things from Sound of Music.
Yes.
That was something that all of us used to sing. And today when you mentioned, I got nostalgic about it. Awesome. So I thought, let me hear it from you.
Perfect. Okay. So my throat is not in the best state because, for the last 1 week, slightly sore, but I can sing, so I'll do it. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. I think if we can, list down our favorite things in the world, in our life, and truly use this technique, every time you feel sad, you remind yourself of, good things in your life, favorite things. I think we'll all feel cheerful.
Excellent, madam.
You brought back all those childhood memories, and I went back to Julie Andrews. Thinking, and when you mentioned this is another thing that comes to my mind. We had this add-on course, last semester, and we had our valediction, and we were generally asking participants to give their feedback on the program and what they, their takeaways and things like that. And of course, everybody who had to say something just unmuted and spoke. And there was this person who recited a poem.
Wonderful.
Based on the sessions, that person is here today in this session. Meeta Virmani did such an innovative exercise of presenting it in the form of a poem, and we were all floored by it completely. So I got reminded of that too. Thank you, Jayashree. Thank you for a brilliant session.
Madam, this is Balachandran from Chennai. I have attended at STO's HR forum. Thank you very much for having agreed to give the session to Nirmala Muralidhar College. And you sang so beautifully. You made my day.
Thank you so much, sir. Really kind of you to join this session as well.
We learned a lot. Truly inspiring and motivating session it was.
I'm very happy to hear that.
And Jayashree, Dr. Prerna is from the music department, by the way. The
Wonderful.
one who's
my voice, trust me, my voice sounds much better, ma'am. I wish my voice was
you sang very well. You sang very well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And the words meant a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, I was singing along with you.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So
I'm seeing a lot of, comments, appreciating and sharing feedback. I'm extremely grateful for everybody, being here. Typically, one of the things you can use to, judge is, towards the end of the session, is the number falling off, right? When that doesn't happen, you know that, you've had an impact. So I'm very glad that people have stayed on till the end. And, hopefully it makes a difference in your life. If 10 years, 20 years down the line, you remember, something that I said today and you are able to, pass it on to someone else, that'll be my biggest, win from today.
And Jayashree, I must congratulate you for impeccable time management skills. I mean, you have managed it so beautifully and there's been no spillover,
Thank you so much.
Really fantastic. I mean, you conveyed so much, and I think it's going to be a very useful session for the students who keep telling, ma'am, time nahi hai, waqt nahi hai, we don't have time, we don't have enough time. So now probably they'll know, where they need to kind of.
I actually like to think of time as, a magic wand in our hands. I truly think how we evolve as a person, how we behave, everything boils down to being very intentional about what am I doing with my time? Who am I spending with? And the more and more, you are able to build that awareness in yourself in that fourth quadrant, it truly works, magic, and you stand out so much differently than, the people around you. It is a magic wand that, works its magic on your life. So I truly advise people to be very intentional about how they use their time.
I think there are some questions in the chat box. There's one from Naba.
Naba, okay. So Naba, I think, I always ask myself the question, what's the worst that can happen? For example, today, let's say I gave such a horrible session. You're all like, people sitting in Delhi, I'm sitting in Chennai. Yeah, maybe you will talk about me, to people saying, oh, what a horrible session that Jayashree did and all, right? As long as I don't attach myself to that emotion, I'm like not worrying about it, right? That is one part. But that doesn't mean you don't worry about it and you do a bad job, right? While I have that mindset of, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm putting in the hard work that is necessary to make sure I make your time worthwhile. If I can actually, share my presentation, I will, share it one more time so that you guys know what goes behind. So you see, right, my talking points, for example, literally what I was going to say, you can see it's there, right? But that doesn't mean I'm looking at it and talking. What I'm trying to say is that's the kind of preparation that, you have to put in to do a good job, any good job. If you look at our, Indian cricket team, again, sorry to use cricket examples. I hope there are cricket fans in the crowd. See, at the end of the day, all you can do is work on your process, which is, practice, whatever it may be, practice, spend that time, truly be passionate about it, right? And the moment you do that, you spend enough time in the process. Once you're out on the field, things are out of your control. You don't know how the wind is going to be that day. You don't know if there's going to be dew on the field. You don't know if somebody is going to have a great day as a bowler. None of that is under control, your control. What is in your control is what you can do, right? If you can focus on that aspect, the way your confidence builds is, that you've given enough practice, you've visualized already, right? You do all that, there's a certain confidence that, comes from it, right? And the more you project that confidence, you see that, people react to it. People are responding to it, right? So important thing is to invest in that, self-awareness, to be highly self-aware. That's also something, right, that I built over years. See, initially when I began, when I was a speaker, right, you'll be glad to know that as a third grader, I think, right, my first on-stage experience was I was dressed up as Indira Gandhi. In fact, I had a similar hairstyle back then. So my mom applied some powder on my hair to make me look like, old. And I was on stage. I really love that picture. I still have it. I look very much like Indira Gandhi. I'm on stage. I'm starting saying, Bhaiyo or Behno, brothers and sisters, the need of the hour is. And then I start crying, saying, Amma, and then I ran off the stage, right? That's my first experience as a speaker, right? Even though it was third grade. But what I'm saying is from there to now, it's a huge journey for me personally. And that comes through practice and giving yourself that room to fail. It's okay if people laugh at me. You know what? I would have gained some confidence from giving it a try. The more you do that, the more, your confidence, builds. Okay. And Kirti asked me a question on, how do we maintain discipline every day? Being very intentional about your time. I used to be a night person before the lockdown, and during the lockdown, I've completely become a morning person. Can you be intentional about, I want to spend time 30 that gives me happiness, that, helps me grow, that helps me learn? Can you make sure you wake up at the same time every day? Can you be intentional about getting enough sleep? That is such a huge part of mental wellness. That's become such a focus these days, during this whole pandemic. That's what it has taught us, right? You prioritize your health, your physical and mental health. If that is in place, then everything else matters. If that is not there, nothing else matters, right? That's what it has taught us. So being very intentional about your time, that's what discipline is all about. Can you be intentional about learning, studying, by saying, what, every day 5 to 6 it's my study time, 6 to 7:30 I'm going to go out and play, because I want my physical health to be good. I want to enjoy happiness of running around, whatever. Can you be mindful about how you spend your time? It all boils down to that. It might be hard suddenly. Let's say you start putting a schedule and you try it. It might be very hard to practice to begin with, right? But you keep at it, you keep giving it a try. You might fail for 4 days out of 7 days, but you still keep doing it. You will keep getting better at it. And that's how, you build, discipline over time, I would think.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah. How can you manage your time? Is that the question, or is there another?
No, like that's another question, but you can answer it first and I'll talk about it later then.
Okay. So how can you manage our time if you're very bad at it, right? See, it's not like I was born good at time management. I just made it a priority that I have to be good at time management. It's like, it's like that Salman Khan dialogue, right? मैं commitment कर दिया तो मैं अपनी नहीं सुनता, or something like that, right? There's an equivalent in Tamil as well, right? So it's up to you. You have to decide first that you are going to become good at time management. If you don't decide that for yourself, you will never get good at it. So you have to make it a priority. You have to decide for yourself, I am going to become good at time management. The moment you have that resolve in you, that determination in you that you are going to become good at it, you will automatically put in efforts to become good at it, right? See, from 0, you might not become 100, but from 0, you might become 40, which is way better than 0, right? And then from start 40 again, you put efforts, right? See, what is important is that intention and resolve for you to become better. And the moment you do that, that's how you get better at it. Yeah. Okay. You had a question, whoever that was trying to talk, please speak up.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am. I'm Vidhi from Janki Devi Memorial College. So like my question is, like you say, whenever you think about doing something new, you think about, what's the worst that can happen. But and you still go for it because, you have that confidence and you might succeed. That probability is something that keeps you going, that there's also a high probability that we can succeed rather than failing at something. Right. So, but, sometimes what happens is that pessimist side of you, or like that mind of you just gets the best of you, and it, overpowers your positive side, thinking, okay, what's the worst can happen? Maybe I'll fall, maybe I become a laughing stock or something, right? So how do you deal with that when that negative side, the pessimist side of yours gets the best of you?
Yeah, so very true. It happens to everybody. It happens to me as well. It's not like I've overcome it, completely, right? There are times when I, hold myself back. But what is important is, out of 10 times, are you giving yourself that chance at least 5 times, 7 times to go out and try, right? You cannot hold yourself back all the time. It's okay. So you have to give yourself the confidence that it's okay to fail. It's okay if people laugh at me, right? See, when you ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to get an answer. This is the worst that can happen. Then you should actually work on, how can I prevent that from happening, right? How can I prevent that from happening? By putting in the work of learning what I'm trying to do, learning to the best of my abilities. Use the people around you. Use the help of a mentor. Use your friends. Use your teacher. Use your colleague. How can you keep working on something so that worst, the possibility of that worst happening, keeps going down? Okay, you might not completely eliminate it, but you can work on making that probability go down. That hard work, the more and more you put, you're going to get that confidence to give it a try. 5 out of 3 times, 3 out of 5 times, let's say you're the pessimist still wins. It's okay. That 2 times that you tried, next time that pessimistic voice will be maybe a little lower in volume, right? It's a process. It's a process that's going to take a long time to overcome if you're in general pessimistic and you put yourself down all the time. But being very intentional about it, saying, what, I want to give it a try. I want to go out and maybe give it a try, right? When you do that, one time you succeed, that is going to give you such a boost that next 5 times you're going to go out and try before you fail again, before you maybe hold back again, right? So it's a process that you have to keep at it to, keep getting better.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. All right. I think we're 20 minutes past. If there are no other questions, we can all drop off. But thank you so much again, for the gift of your time, listening to me and being here today.
Ma'am, we have to take a picture with you and all the participants.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Everybody, please join in for the group photograph with Jayashree.
Please switch on your cameras.
Wonderful to see so many beautiful smiling faces. I'm so glad we're doing this group picture.
We'll share it with you.
Is it done, Abhidhi? Ma'am, we're done. Yes, ma'am.
Done, Vidhi?
Yeah, she is done with it.
Much.
Now I would take the opportunity to formally thank you, ma'am. So on behalf of the whole JDMC team, I would like to thank you for doing an inspiring session. So this whole session was like a journey for me, especially I would say, it was a whole journey of becoming better version of ourselves. So it was such a positive session with so much positive vibes. So, sometimes the speaker is saying, and you feel those vibes, positive vibes. So I could feel that. And there was so much to learn from this session. And I'm very sure that all the participants would have enjoyed the session, and I have taken the important points, jot down the important points and those lessons, and they would definitely, imbibe that, practice those, and would get benefited from them. And thank you for giving the reality check as well through your session. So thank you once again for taking out your time and making this an amazing session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been my
Jayashree, I'm really glad that this is the grand finale to the add-on course. And we had planned it in such a way that your session should be the, penultimate one. And the next one is basically assessment and valediction. So I'm really glad we chose you for this session. And it was really, truly wonderful to have you here with us. Thanks a ton.
If I may add a few words, I was just going through your poster and I saw you describing yourself as a fearless optimist. I think you demonstrated that completely, and you have inspired me to be the same. So kudos, it was an absolutely
great.
Fabulous presentation.
Thank you.
And a very inspiring one at that.
Thank you. Totally my pleasure. I'm so glad, that impact, came through, because at the end of the day, that truly, why I was so grateful, for the opportunity. So I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you so much, Jayashree, for accepting our invitation and giving us your valuable time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.